one heck of a game. Speaking of Western Kentucky, they're next up, and they're going on the road to take on Jacksonville State. So this should be a really good game. Of the Tuesday, Wednesday Conference USA games, this is without a doubt, the best game. There's no question. Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State. We got Western Kentucky, 7-point road favorites, 60 the total here in this game. I took a shot with Jacksonville State against Liberty because they were cashing for me week in and week out. They were playing good football. I loved that, they'd fall behind in games and they would have that resolve and they'd battle back and they wouldn't give up and they've come back and beaten so many teams. But they ran up against a Liberty team that once they fell behind last week, there was no comeback for Jacksonville State, which just shows you how good Liberty is right now. Against Western Kentucky, if Jacksonville State, now this has been an issue. Like, I think if you like Jacksonville State, obviously you would like them full game, but don't be scared maybe to just don't bet at pregame, wait till halftime, because we have seen slow starts out of Jacksonville State more than once this year, and they've been a second half machine in so many games. And I guess you got to give Rich Rodriguez credit for that, where they've played so much of their best football, in the second half beyond halftime. I lean Jacksonville State here. I have personally Liberty a little bit better than Western Kentucky, especially on the defensive side of the football. I think Liberty's just a little bit better on defense than Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky with Austin Reed at quarterback. We know the passing game is very, very critical to their success. They don't run the football a lot. And when you look at the matchup and the way it sets up here for this Jacksonville State defense, their run defense is very good. The pass defense, not quite. So I am a little worried, that Austin Reed-led passing game for Western Kentucky might get going here a little bit, because I think Jacksonville State's defensive strength is against the run more so than the pass. On the flip side, if Jacksonville State going to play fast, going to play up tempo, going to be run heavy. That's the way they've always been with their quarterbacks who can both run, whether it's Webb or whether it's Smothers. And, of course, they have a good run game as well. They're not a great passing team. The good news for them is Western Kentucky's not a great run defense here, giving up almost 200 rushing yards per game and almost 5 yards per carry. So not a very good run defense here from Western Kentucky. I think this game might be a little bit of a shootout here, because you would think the offensive strength of Western Kentucky will work against the greater defensive weakness of Jack State, which is the pass defense. And just on the flip side, the Jacksonville State offensive strength should work against the weaker defensive part of Western Kentucky, which is stopping the run. So I think both teams play well to their offensive strengths, take advantage and exploit the defensive weakness of the other team. So the over, I think, might be in play here at 60 and a half, and I lean to the home dog as well. Conor, what do you think here? A good matchup in CUSA, Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State.
It is. Western Kentucky has been good against the number. We've talked about it for a while, since last year. Obviously, Austin Reed's very good, and they'll be able to throw it. But I want to take the home team. After they finally lose, so they get a couple road wins, Jacksonville State, they come home, obviously, to Liberty and lose, where some people – I stayed off. I was just on the under. But I like this. Get the 7 here. There's been a few times it was the Western Kentucky versus La Tech. But Bano, that was a 6, and that just kept me from not wanting to bet it. I got bit by Hawaii this weekend with the 6. When I talked about on the show in the morning, I really want a 7.5 to feel a lot better. I think you do here, because I think Jacksonville State can run on Western Kentucky. Whether it gets over, I don't know. I'm not going to mess with that, but I think you take the points here. Western Kentucky laying this on the road. I think it's a bounce back, staying at home here for Jacksonville State in a close one. So I'll take the points.
There is one thing to keep in mind and be very leery of here for Jacksonville State. Both quarterbacks got banged up and got injured last week against Liberty in that 31-13 loss, and they're questionable, both of them, as of this video, as of this show. And I'm talking about, of course,
I think we just need one. So
yeah.
as long as one
Webb
of them, because
it's Smothers. And you know what? They're all interchangeable. They can't really throw the ball all that well, either of them. Zion Webb and Logan Smothers. Their strength is running it, both of these guys. And the guy that would play, if neither of them is available, is a kid named Ashton Fry. And if you actually look at his, high school track record, same kind of quarterback as the other two. Not the greatest thrower, but he's got terrific dual threat capability, can run with the football, very athletic. So it's kind of one of those deals where if they're without one or both of those quarterbacks, they have to go to the third string QB making his first start. Fry. It's not like they're totally lost on offense. It's like a plug and play thing. The guy's not the most polished pocket passer in the world, but he can do what Rich Rod wants him to do: mobility from the quarterback position, which has always been, the Rich Rod way with this offense that he's had, going back to all the different places he's coached. So I would say, even if it is Fry, they're down to the QB3. It still wouldn't take me completely off the opinions of Jacksonville State and probably a higher scoring game, because I still think they're going to be able to run the ball. And I think Western can pass on this Jacksonville State defense on the flip side.